Hey guys, my name is David Ruff. I operate in Toronto, and today we're going to be talking about revenue streams and all the ways that you could be making money in real estate and outside of real estate. So let's get into it. You guys, I have a lot of different revenue streams. They say a millionaire typically has 7 different revenue streams in their portfolio. So we want to make sure that you got your 7 and hopefully more than 7. So where are we going to be getting our 7 different types? Now, the crazy part is you can get this all inside of real estate. Can you get 7 streams of income in real estate? The answer is yes, you can. Absolutely. Why not? So let's grab a new screen up here and we're going to start talking about the different ways that you can get 7 different streams all in real estate without having to break the bank. That's what I want. So let's get into this. Let's just move the camera here, you guys, so that you could see all of this. All right, so let's get into the different revenue streams in real estate now. What does everyone always tell you in real estate? I kind of get tired of hearing about it all the time. Everyone always says, well, David, I want cash flow. Okay, but this is the lowest hanging fruit. Nobody really cares about cash flow. How much do you normally make on cash flow? Maybe $100 per month, which is quite boring. We also have principal pay down always, right? Principal pay down. How much is principal pay down normally equate to? Principal pay down should be, man, my writing is bad on this screen. Principal pay down should be bringing you something ballpark, and this is per 100,000, somewhere around $375 per month. $375 per month. Now this is on per 100,000, right? Also, how else do we make money? We make money on negative yielding rates. So with negative yielding rates, negative, and I did a whole video on that, negative yield, which is the difference. What is this? This is real inflation, not stated, minus what? Do you guys remember? Real inflation minus your mortgage. Okay, that's how you find out what negative yielding rates is. The majority of this is going to show up in appreciation, but there's other places. So that's what I say that we make money with our loans. You also have appreciation, which is another revenue stream, obviously. We also have depreciation. So where do we make depreciation? This is where you pay $0 in tax. Right? So we always say we make money through cash flow, principal pay down, negative yielding rates, right? Which is going to be through appreciation, depreciation, and what else? Appreciation, depreciation, negative yielding rates, principal pay down, and cash flow. These are our 5 directions that we normally get in real estate. We get 5 different ways to make money in cash flow. So do you see that? 5 different ways in real estate is where we make our money. Okay, so I have 5 different streams, and the lowest priced one is cash flow, but the greatest money we make is where do we make the biggest amount of money? Normally here, appreciation and depreciation. What is the number one reason out of these 5 things? What is the number one reason why investors normally buy? They buy for this, depreciation. So you guys got to learn how to use depreciation in your area, read your tax code, and become partners with the government, because this is where you make your money, not so much cash flow. So don't be focusing on that right now. Okay, so where else can we make money on a property? Where else? So these are the top 5 reasons, but we also have people who grow. So this is where you'll have chickens, maybe eggs. We have people who do that. We have bee farmers that make honey. So we have that, and we also have some vegetables. So people grow that on there. We also have Airbnbs. So the Airbnb, there's a couple ways. We have Airstream. Airstreams. This is very, very popular right now. We have a lot of people doing that. What's the other one? Glamping. So what is glamping? This is where you set up an entire tent outside, a fancy tent, Christmas lights all over the place. And this can go up on a VRBO and Airbnb as well. On top of that, we can then build out units in the basement. So we have several clients who have put down units in the basement. So I typically see 1 or 2. I like the 2, obviously, the more the better. Now, all of this sounds like a lot of work, Airstreams, glamping, and these units. All of this sounds like a lot of work, and I don't like this. So all of this, remember, you need, I do not do anything else. I need, this is a bracket, property management. I do not do this. You need to have property management for Airstreams and glamping and even the units in the basement. I do not want to do this, okay, at all. How else do you make money when we move into properties? There's a bunch of different ways. Now we're also going to put a cell phone tower if we can. We're going to make an application. Cell phone towers. You can make an application to the company and say that your house is adequate. Now they're going to look on Google Maps to see if they can put a tower on your building and see if it's going to be plausible. They may come and do a study, and if they do, this is regular money that's going to be coming into you. Also, solar panels. Now, this isn't just putting it on the roof. You may be putting it on your lawn. If you can put it on your lawn, that's really, really good too. Oh, I also forgot up here between the Airstreams, glamping, and units, you could also rent out for tiny homes. There are people that are looking to put their tiny homes in the backyard. So if you can rent out a tiny home, that is where you're going to hook them up to the sewer and hook them up to water. Then they can be in your backyard. So they want that too. We also want to make the application for cell phone towers, putting solar panels on the roof and in the yard, both things. We have some people who live on the highway and they were allowed to put advertising up. So advertising. And so this is a billboard. Are you willing to put up a billboard on your property to get paid every single week or every month, whatever the case is? Now we can get extra things coming in here. Also, when we move into certain buildings, it depends on the building. We put up crypto miners inside the buildings. Once we have crypto miners in the buildings, some of them can require an antenna on the roof and some are not. So we also put up crypto miners wherever we're going to go. A lot of cool ideas. Also, then in real estate, where else can you make money? We also have different types of rent. We have laundry. So that's for washer and dryer services. We can also charge for parking. We also charge for extra tenants. If they have 3 kids, they're going to wear out the home more than just 1 kid. We also will charge for covered parking or extra parking. Like we'll make an extra lot, an extra spot for them as well. We'll charge for extra for that. We also have pet rent, because you can have a dog that has long nails and those nails will mess up the floors. And if the dog messes up the floors, you can now charge pet rent as well. So guys, if we're looking at a property, and remember this one property, if we can get cash flow, principal pay down, negative yielding rates when we get our loan, which is real inflation minus your mortgage, then you add appreciation and depreciation, you add in extras that you could put on your property, maybe renting out the backyard, maybe renting out the basements. We always do that through property management. Always. You add solar panels, you can add advertising, crypto miners, and then have all of these extra types of rents added on. You may have a dozen different revenue streams all inside of one property, which is kind of crazy, right? So this is the main goal, is you want to have as many revenue streams all coming into the same property as possible. Pretty awesome, right? So this is very, very possible for people to do. And then we can also talk about different types of streams that you can get into once you move out of real estate. So first of all, do you guys have any questions when it comes to any of this stuff? I don't see any questions. on TikTok. So, you know what? This is where we want to have 12 different revenue streams coming in. So, what does this all do? We said cash flow might be $100 per month on 100,000. Principal pay down should be around $375 per month. Negative yielding rates could be quite big. So that could be like maybe $600 per month. You're going to see that $600 a month, probably about 400 of it will show up through the appreciation process. Depreciation, well, that just means how much money is your company making. So if you have money coming in, then you can wipe it all out. Depreciation could mean a lot of money. Per 100,000 in Canada, you'll have about a $4,000 write-off. $4,000, 4% per month per 100,000 per year. If we keep going down, you know, what are people selling this for? It always depends where it is. Airbnb, glamping, tiny homes. So the Airstreams, you know, are renting out per night. Normally, you'll get about $4,000 per month, something like that. For the glamping and tiny homes is a lot less. Tiny homes might only be $1,000 per month if you had it on your property. Glamping and these two as well could also be bringing you in $4,000 per month. But then you have to pay property management. How much does property management cost? About 10%. Cell phone tower really depends where you live. These I've seen anywhere from a couple $100 to several thousand. How much are solar panels on your property? I've also seen it from several $100 profit to several thousand. How much is advertising on the billboard? Hundreds to thousands. Crypto miners are usually in the hundreds. How much do you normally get on laundry per unit? You might only be making $30 per unit. Not very much. Parking might be something like that, $30 the same. If it's covered parking or covered spots, sometimes depending on the area, I've seen as high as like $50 or something like that. In downtown Toronto, this could be $300. Pet rent, normally $30 to $50, depends on the size of the animal. This is always coming in, man. Lots of different ways to make money. Tons and tons and tons of ways. Now, that is just in real estate, guys. That's just in real estate. We do this all the time just when we're trying to build our own revenue streams, right? So you can do this extra. You can start moving outside of properties. And once you start moving outside of properties, now you can start thinking about extra revenue streams. What about affiliate marketing or sending people to insurance companies, or we help lease properties? I'm a real estate broker, so we are always trying to help people sell their properties for more money. And we also will lease out for the investors when we get that property for them. And you just keep on building different streams. I kind of like doing it. So maybe I'm a sucker for punishment, but we're always trying to do new things. You know, last year I was into a lot of different cryptos, but I've kind of slowed down a lot on cryptos. I mean, we've lost money on some of those small ones, right? But what I keep buying all the time is just buy the big ones. I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. I buy these guys all the time. But I don't keep a lot of this, right? I just keep 1%, 2%, or 3% of your net worth in Bitcoin, not too much. The rest, right? We always show you buy gold and silver. You know, you'll be happy with that. That's it. What did you think of everything I had on the screen? Did you like that stuff? How to be making money on real estate? I hope so. And if you have any questions for it, you can let me know. So, you know, cash flow is what you'll hear all the time from people like Grant Cardone and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and all those guys, right? So that's the easiest part to understand is if I'm going to be getting $1,000 a month in rent, if I get $1,000 and the mortgage is $800, well, then I have $200 extra cash flow is what they say. But this is where financial education has to come into play, where we learn the breakdowns of principal pay down and negative yielding rates and through appreciation and depreciation. We got to look at it as a whole. Why do you think BlackRock is opening a branch in Toronto? And BlackRock is going to be opening up a Toronto branch. They have $50 billion with a B. $50 billion to buy real estate in Canada. Do you think they're buying it just for the cash flow? No, they're buying it for all the other things, right? Real estate is the most tax favored asset class in the world. And that's why 90% of all millionaires make their money through real estate, because the buildings can make you more money than you could ever do it. That's why. Anyway, you know what? I've done several of the lives earlier this week, and some days, man, I don't know what it is. Some people are really upset. They're seeing the stock market drop. They're seeing the crypto market drop. They're seeing real estate drop everywhere. And in Toronto, we have certain areas like, if we go out to Brampton, down 40%. If we look up in King City, down 50%. Mississauga's down 35%. We have some big issues that are popping up. So when you see all of the prices dropping, it's like, where do you run? Where do people go to preserve their wealth? And remember, gold and silver, I've been buying for 13 years now. Gold and silver is not to make money. Gold and silver is to prevent you from losing money. Big difference. So we have to make sure that you're not going to lose money. And this is where diversification comes into play. You don't want to be the only guy, the only guy losing money, right? That really burns you. But most people haven't taken the time to read any books to actually figure out what money is. How come millions of years ago, it feels like, my grandfather worked for $1 a day, and today, can you imagine somebody working for $1 a day? What's changed is the dollar has changed value. Everyone looks back, including my own siblings, and they say, oh my goodness, grandpa bought a house, for $1,500, right? What a joke. Of course, he bought it for $1,500. He only made $1 a day. Of course, it was that much. Where's the bottom? Yeah, Tony, the bottom is probably going to be Q1 or Q2 next year. So yeah, if I know you're in the Greater Toronto area, I wouldn't be buying right now. I'm saving up all my cash to be buying in the spring. Now, again, there's no certainties, right? There's only probabilities. But if we look at the charts of historical charts, there's always this cumulative, they call it sticky categories. That's what I call it. Because once you do something like make the rate way higher and increase the average person's mortgage by $1,000 and $1,073, they got to pay that every single month. So everyone has different amounts in the bank. It's going to wipe out some people immediately, some people in 6 months, some people in a year. So if we go back to 2007, 8, 9, or if we go back to any other housing crash, as soon as the rates go up, it could take 18 months, 2 years to get through the system. So it takes some time for people to keep on losing. So I expect prices to really be heading down, but I also think that we're going to pivot probably and drop the rates, most likely. I think that's going to happen probably like end of January, February, March, something like that. That's what I'm preparing for. Yeah. So we're live on TikTok and YouTube. So if YouTube has any questions, you can put it up as well. We're talking about real estate, rental real estate, and all of the revenue streams that we can get through property. So I think that we had up to something like 15 different revenue streams just that we do on properties. We've done this a few times, but this is just what we had covered earlier today. So we had talked about cash flow, principal pay down, negative yielding rates, appreciation and depreciation. Those are the top 5. This is what everyone knows about. And then this is what we are covering all on our value adds. So we try to add a lot of different types of rent. Yeah. So if you have any questions on YouTube, you can put them below. I can catch you. It's on one of my screens. Yeah, you guys. So are you thinking of buying properties? Are you thinking of selling properties? We have been moving away from a lot of the purchasing of properties for clients, just because we have so many that we have for sale. We're selling properties now, and we've been moving that way for a while. Yeah. So a lot of the clients that we have that come in, like we can't do it all by ourselves. Sorry. So we have to get other agents with us in our group to help us. We just had somebody that called while we were on here asking for a showing for a building down the road. So thank goodness we have other people to help us out. We're thankful. Wade, I look younger with every video. What is this guy? Such a smart ass. All right. So you guys, we covered this. If there's any questions that you have with any of this stuff, you can let me know. These are the top 5 ways that we make money in real estate. Cash flow, principal pay down, negative yielding rates, which most people have trouble with. This is real inflation, not stated inflation minus the mortgage. What does this mean in real life? Real stated inflation today is only like 8%, but a mortgage might be 6. So you might think that you're still plus 2. Whereas real inflation actually is like 17 minus your mortgage of 6. So we're at like 11. So we're going to be profiting 11% right now from negative yielding rates, which is beautiful. So when you can be paid to borrow money, the question is not like, should I or shouldn't I? It's how much money will you give me and how fast will you give it to me? Hey, Manny, how are you, buddy? You're saying, can you talk more about mortgage rates, where they're heading? So mortgage rates, very, very good question, by the way. Where do we think that mortgage rates are heading? All we can look to is the history as a guide and what their minutes actually put out and where they're going. They have been very clear since the beginning of the year, since when they started to mention that they will be doing raising the rates and quantitative tightening. They said at the end of the year, they want to end up between 3 and 3.5%. We are not there yet. We have to take them at their word because they have been doing that part. That's one thing that I actually do believe that they'll do as they keep raising it up. And so remember, when you qualify for a mortgage, you don't qualify for the rate of the mortgage. You qualify for the rate of the mortgage plus 2%. So they don't have any qualms about raising it up that amount, right? Because they know that you can already afford it. But the problem is once they start going over that, that's when you start bankrupting people and start putting people into foreclosure. So that is most likely going to happen. But now we have a whole combination of events that are all going to be happening at one time. We're going to have the rates getting pushed to 3.5, which that means we could see mortgages hit 7%, which is going to be extremely high, which would put a lot of homes into foreclosure. Okay, so that's going to happen. In addition, in September and October, we have a lot of bad announcements coming about food shortages. That's going to happen at the same time. And we have the bullwhip effect taking down a lot of consumerism. We're going to see properties go down. Why? Because when companies aren't making any money, the stocks are going to go down and then they lay off people. So when all of these things are all going to be combining at one time, the biggest likelihood, what percentage? I would say like 80% likelihood that they're going to pivot and start dropping rates, but it'll be probably late, right? Like the huge amount of damage will have already been done in the economy. Remember, they injected something crazy like $35 trillion into the market. So when they injected $35 trillion in the market, of course, everything skyrocketed in price to the moon. So what do you think is going to happen when they yank 35 million out of the market and light it on fire and get rid of it? There's going to be lasting damage from that. Cash is king, eh, Tony? So I do believe in cash. I do believe in having some cash, but cash is also getting eroded, and it's getting eroded huge. Depending on how you calculate it, you're losing anywhere from 9 to 17% a year in cash. So I don't use a lot of cash. This to me is safer than cash. So what can you get something like this for? Last year, one of these things was selling for $3,800. But today, a brick of silver is selling for $2,900 or something for something like this. This is real money. So I went and got that out of the safety deposit box. Remember, you should be doing it. Something like 5, 10, 15% of your net worth should be in it, but you should never hold it in your house either, right? You can store it in vaults around the world. And if you can talk about institutional investors who are popping up in Canada, like BlackRock. All right. So If you were going to open an office, where on earth would you ever open it in Canada? You'd only open it either in Toronto or in Vancouver, the big massive hubs. But I also don't know if that means that they're going to be buying in Ontario. I don't think so. The reason why is we do not live in a jurisdiction that likes landlords. Where we live, our jurisdiction, the province of Ontario, cannot stand investors. So BlackRock isn't stupid. Why would they be investing here only if they're in a jurisdiction that does not like landlords and they're proposing to be a landlord? So I think they're coming here as a hub for Canada, and they're going to be buying all over the place. They have $50 billion that they're starting to buy. And this is going to be different. Everyone wants to make parallels to 2007, 8, 9 versus now. Completely different story. 2007, 8, 9, they had a lot of ninja loans, no income, no job, and they were getting loans. They also had a massive abundance of empty homes that people were investing in. Today, very big scrutiny on mortgages, not the same. And now we have no homes available. We're in a massive housing crunch. There is no supply. So they're not the same at all. In addition, the financial crisis that we're going to have this time is going to make 2007, 8, 9 look like Pee-wee hockey. It's going to be nothing. BlackRock is a very monster company. Almost everything you buy is touched by BlackRock. And these guys are coming in here because they see opportunity that's going to be coming up. And I think that they're going to be waiting for those opportunities when home prices really adjust down. They'll see a shortage in the market and buy those homes. The sad part is once those homes are sucked up into funds, they never come back onto the market, ever. They'll just be sold from one fund to another fund, maybe never be sold, and they're going to be bought up by pension funds or whatever else it is. But BlackRock kind of sucks something in and it never lets go. I don't even know what they're worth. Trillions. Like they're massive. And BlackRock isn't the first. There's been many, many, many before them. And there'll be many after them too. Housing has never been a massive thing like it is now. We've never seen that before. 2007, 8, 9. There was no institutions buying 10,000 homes at a time. That never happened. This is kind of a new thing. So it's kind of scary, actually. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. But you know what? Like governments could say something about it. Governments could say, I'm sorry, companies are not allowed to buy 10,000 homes at a time. But they allow it, right? So they're probably going to make a lot more money. So maybe buy BlackRock shares. I don't know. By the way, I don't buy BlackRock. I'm not smart enough to play the market, and buy and sell at the right times all the time. I buy things that are long-term that's going to guarantee to make me money. We have a lot of clients. They call me all the time about all kinds of things. Listen, I'm buying things for my retirement. So I plan to buy it and never look at it again. So I actually don't even know how many Bitcoin I have. I have it set up so stuff is being bought every week. So I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. I also have miners that are mining Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I take this stuff and it's going into account, socking into account all the time. I just plan on putting whatever you want. You can put $20 a week if you want. Just have it getting sucked into an account every week. I know for the rest of my life, $20 a week is going to disappear. It's not going to mean anything. But I know when I turn 60, there should be, who knows, millions of dollars of Bitcoin sitting there. I just set it up so everything is always operating that way. Every year, I'm buying gold and silver every year. And we put it, we have a little bit in Canada, but the rest of it, we can put in vaults in different countries. So you buy it, put it there, right? If I ever cash out my gold and silver, I have to pay taxes on it. If I just take a loan against it, I don't have to pay taxes. So why not just take a loan on it? I'm here to accumulate like generational wealth. I'm not here just to buy dinner and quickly flip it and make a little bit of profit. Good questions, Manny, though. Very good questions.